Good morning, everyone. Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, that's so much better. Thank you all for being here today. I'm your pastor, Reverend Trenton Shine. Welcome to First Spiritualist Church. We're glad that all of you are here, and we're going to start off by opening the sacred space, and Virgil is going to do that. So I'm going to pass it over to Virgil to open our sacred space.
All right, let's stand. All right. Welcome. So first and foremost, we're doing play. So we come to the elements. Earth, our body, water, our blood, air, our breath, and fire, our spirit. So take a breath in, open the mouth, let it go. Right away, begin to visualize yourself in nature, wrestling with the trees, the flowers blooming, all the different creatures moving around. And you come back to that sense of freedom, and play, exploration, imagination. And you remember the essence of nature, the nature that is you. Take a breath in, let it go, let it flow. One more, just like that. And then let it go. And now the most powerful medicine is your breath, your voice. So take a breath in. Open mouth, let it go. Let it flow, bring in the breath. Open the mouth. Two more just like that, inviting the body to reawaken. One more just like that. Allow your breath to carry just like the ancestors rustling through the trees. Now sit in the vibration of that voice you created in the throat. Those thoughts, those words, those actions that move through the throat. It's your very essence of how we move in this space. Know that your vibration is so unique in this creative universe that we exist in. Take another breath in. Let it go, let it flow. Now we open up the directions, so we come back to our wisdom keepers in the ancient ways. So when you feel ready, open the eyes. And we'll face the direction of the west, to the back of the church. Connect to your breath. Drop into this space. Remember that this physical body is our altar, and that we are that candle, sharing our flame, our wisdom. To the winds of the west, Great Mother Jaguar, come protect our medicine space, that we remember that we are the medicine and life is the ceremony. Through our thoughts, through our words, through our actions, through the work to traverse through the shadows, we allow ourselves to connect to our breath, to flow like the ocean in this experience. You remind us to bring awareness to all facets of life, the ups, the downs. It is all full spectrum of this experience, not one without the other. We celebrate all layers of this spectrum. Take a breath in. Send it out to the west. Quarter turn to the right. Winds of the north, the great royal hummingbird, allow us now to remember to taste the sweet nectar of life. That we do slow down to smell the flowers. That the flowers here are our very essence, sharing our wisdom. Just like the bees and the butterflies that come to each flower to spread its pollen, our thoughts, our words, and our actions are that very pollen into this consciousness that we call life, that we call the universe. So we remember that yes, the journey and magic of self is beautiful, yet we come back out of the shell to come back into community, because that's where the vibration of magic occurs. When we come together, we here, our woes and our magic of being in this space. So, Royal Hummingbird, allow us to remember to stare in your direction, to give breath in your direction. Take a breath in. Out. Quarter turn to the right. To the winds of the east, great eagle and condor. The prophecy has arrived. The rainbow tribe has arrived. You see, we are the rainbow. We are now the elders, sharing our wisdom, sharing what is being passed down from our mother, our father, their mother, their father, their mother, their father. And we are here now because they have paved the way for us as we continue to pave the way through our thoughts, our words, our actions, through our breath, the altar that we embody in this space. So we take flight to see the greater perspective, to zoom out from this body, to zoom out from this church, to zoom out from the community, to see how expansive this reality is. And then we zoom back in, just like the mandala, just like the lotus flower here before us. We are ever evolving, ever changing. It is constant. So we get to breathe in the miracle of life. That we get to move in this body. That we get to see, taste, and feel what is possible. Take a breath in. Out to the east. Quarter turn to the right. To the winds of the south. Great Mother Serpent. Thank you for showing us to shed our layers, our thoughts, our words, our actions, our experiences, to attach to receive the wisdom, and then we let them go. Receive the insight, and then let it go. Because you know what? All there is just sound. Sound surrounding us, always, constantly. So we come back to remember the silence within, the slithering snake, to reflect, to shed, to let it go, to appreciate what was, to appreciate what now is. Take a breath in. Send it out to the south. Now we come to Pachamama. You can take a knee or just bring your energy down. Focus on your roots from the soles of your feet down into the earth. Anchor all of this energy now, taking the energy from the mind down into the earth. You see, it is so easy for our mind to wander off because that's where we came from. We know that experience. But we're meant to bring all that frequency into this physical body to be the vessel to share. So we thank you, Pachamama, Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, for carrying us, for providing all those beautiful nutrients that we get to explore into. Thank you for carrying the weight of any burdens. Thank you for showing us the beauty of life, to see the trees, to see the flowers, to see the birds. That they're all simply reflections of us. The ever-expanding full spectrum of what is possible. You remind us to imagine bigger, to feel bigger, to step into that frequency of love and gratitude. So Pachamama, we send our breath to you now. Breathe in. Beautiful breath. Now bring our energy and awareness now up to the skies, to the great star nations, great grandmother, great grandmother moon, mother soul, always moving through the cycles, never stopping for us, yet reminding us, empowering us, inspiring us to bring awareness, to bring intention. I know it's easy to be a zombie. It's easy just to go and go and go. But we're not meant to be that. We're meant to feel what is possible, to create and explore the unimaginable. The power in numbers, that the beehive, that we buzz together in this experience. And our thoughts, our words, our actions do create a ripple into this experience. So you remind us, great star nation, to continue to look up. Even though we may look down, we bring the full spectrum back up to appreciate what is possible. Take a breath in. Send it out to the great star nations. Now place the palms of the heart if it feels called. And we come back to the breath. Just like the beat of the drum. Just like us taking every step on this plane of earth. And we come back right here. Because at the end of the day, never lost, always connected. So all those prayers we sent out to all of our brothers and sisters all out there, we bring all those prayers back inside of us. Because we are that altar. Take a breath in. Open out, exhale, let it go, let it go. Just a few more breaths here as we shake off any energy that lingers. Just like the rains that have come to cleanse us. Come back to the vibration. Come back to appreciation. Come back to you. You are home. Take a breath in. Let it go.
Thank you so much. Now, if you grab your songbook and go ahead and stand, we're going to sing, turn to page 3. We're going to sing, You Are My Sunshine. You can stand and we'll sing together.
My sunshine, my only sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I think I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Give yourself a round of applause. All right. Now time for our speaker. Our speaker today owns Halo House, which is just a couple blocks away on 41st. It's an incredible metaphysical bookstore. If you haven't been there, you really should go. But it's a great space that they've created over there. And so please welcome Saharai.
Tissues. I already know. That song already was going to take me out. Happy risings, happy Sunday, happy full moon in Gemini. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you today. Thank you, Pastor Trenton, for inviting me to speak in this sacred space. Thank you, Virgil, for opening up our halo and all the magical ways you know how. And thank you, Danielle, for creating today's tea blend to share. If you haven't tried it, there's a third eye tea blend back there, specifically for your third eye chakra. Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
You're fine.
Yeah, good, okay. As Pastor Trenton said, my name is Saharai, and I'm the founder of Halo House. We're located on 41st University, right by the taco shop. Like, if you know this area, you know what I'm talking about. It's right on the corner, also known as the Bermuda Triangle, per Virgil. We specialize in energy healings and also providing energy tools, creating different forms of lessons to learn, because the spirit world is invisible, and I believe that we need to create tangible ways to be able to digest that and understand that, because it's a whole different language. So that's the short summary of it. HALO stands for Healing Alchemy of Love and Oneness, and beyond the store name is the modality that I personally use in my sessions, in my healings. And today, I don't stand here as a pastor or reverend. I'm not going to quote any spiritual teachings. I'm here as a woman having a real human experience and learning to turn poison into medicine and sharing my journey along the way. My intention today is solely to share seeds, allowing you to take whatever you need to take and grow them as you feel fit. I have a bunch of notes, so hopefully I won't be reading. But this is like my manifesto for today. Halo was birthed out of necessity. I was having a really challenging time with the gifts and abilities that were coming to me, and so many of you have experienced that, like your awakening and however you want to call it. And it didn't feel like gifts and abilities for a very long time. And I was overwhelmed with like how much I felt, how much I thought, how much I was misunderstood, and how much like the language that I required did not exist. And so all of this was happening, and yet I was still activating more. I'm very big on visuals, which is why like the third IT is here. So the visual of what I was feeling that I know now was that my soul was running a marathon and my body was in a standstill form. And so the more I did nothing, the further my spirit got away from me and the more lost I became. And it was like this endless cycle of chaos. So I got to the point of depression and not feeling good. And on top of that, I was a new mom. And from looking from the outside in, it looked like I should be happy and I had everything I required. But within me, I felt empty. I felt like I was dying. And I felt ungrateful because of it. Because on paper, it's like, you have everything, so you should feel like this. But the energy, my emotional system did not feel that. So when I finally understood that what I was experiencing was life beyond the five senses, I was like, okay, let me go into my prayer mode. My background growing up was, I grew up Baptist, specifically Mexican Baptist, which is really strict. And I'm like, okay, let me tap into those roots and pray this away. That's what they taught me. Pray it away. Well, it didn't work. In case you're wondering. The opposite happened. My gifts actually got stronger and my spirit got further away from me. And so my avatar was in despair. But that forced me to educate myself. That forced me to understand, okay, if emotionally I cannot understand this, I need to understand that on a cerebral level. And I started to study frequency, vibration, energy. And then I started to create in my mind visuals to help me understand, which is why visuals are such a big thing for me. So when I say halo, I mean, many of you can imagine what that is, which is literally a halo. It's what I call your 8th chakra. It is the spirit of Wi-Fi. It is where we are connected when we come in community. It's how we walk into a room and feel like, oh, the vibes are good, the vibes are off. It's your halo telling you what's going on. And there's so much medicine in that. And Virgil, and all the messages he gave in opening up space, he said like how your imprint is unique to you. And it is. We all have a story, and all of us in combination with the correct intention can share that and learn from one another. So I believe that anytime we gather in community, we have a soul contract to be here. And all of us woke up at different times. We all took different ways to get here. Some of us are hungry, some of us had a good breakfast, right? That's like the human perspective of us gathering. But somehow we all ended up into this hub, and that's the contract. So the details matter, right? But then they don't matter if we don't join. And so with that in mind, I was thinking of today, and I was thinking of my journey getting here to behind this podium. And for me, I started driving here in 2018. I was at, my family and I had the opportunity to transition my grandmother into her next journey. And I was one of the grandchildren that gave her eulogy. And after her burial, my childhood / early adulthood pastor was there, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. But afterwards, he came up to me and he asked me if I would join his church and take over the ministry of the youth. And I was shocked. What? You know, we haven't spoken in so long. And he said, yes, I think you have things to share. And I respectfully declined because my belief system had differed in so many ways. I was very honored, but, you know, I'm here. So it was very, very different for me to be there. It wouldn't have been in alignment for me. So I actually had not thought of that memory, nor I don't even know if I've ever shared that with anyone. I had until I started preparing for today. Fast forward to 2022. We know what happened in 2020, right? So we can skip that. 2022, my mom gets really sick. And it's at that time that we realize that we have the opportunity to transition her. And it was a 2-year journey, one that we're very grateful for. And so she transitioned this year in January. And when I received the news about my mom, though, back in 2022, like I went into a full panic mode. I went into like, okay, like my repertoire, like what are my medicines? What are my solutions? I need to get ahead of it. And I started Virgil, and I started going to full moon. Almost every full moon, I was either at the beach having ceremony for her, fire ceremony, or I was at an altar fire having fire ceremony for her. It was like a preemptive strike, and what I think I was doing was I was trying to collect like enough healing, enough pain for me to use later. That's what I was doing. So in many ways, it was like I was having little funerals for her for 2 years as I waited. So after she passed in January, I don't remember much of the beginning of the year. I think like my recollection comes back to maybe around April. And by that point, I'm back to pre-halo, where my soul has lifted and taken off. And my avatar is here, and there's a disconnection once again. And I had many reasons, aka excuses, to do that. I was scared of returning back to my medicine without having her as my anchor. I was scared of how I would feel if I saw her in the ethers. That wasn't something like I had processed, nor anyone that I could talk to about. And I just I leaned on her for protection in so many ways. So that was scary. So by August of this year, I was just fully disconnected. And how that manifested in me is that in my real life, like everything was going wrong. And then one particular day in August, I had a healing session scheduled with Virgil. It was a shamanic massage. And it was an evening appointment. And that day was just really awful for me. And I came into Halo, and he greeted me. He was sitting at the stairs. Do you remember? Yeah, of course you remember. I'll remind you right now. He was sitting at the stairs, and he's like, your room is ready, your massage table is ready. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can receive a massage right now. Like, I need to talk. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. And he's like, okay, do you want to order pizza? And that's like our code, like our pizza talks, or like our talk therapy. That's like a ritual that we have. We've been doing that for many, many moons. And I said, yeah, I need that. So we ordered our pizza and a bunch of other stuff we shouldn't be eating. And we put like, we usually always, actually not usually, we always put our spread out on the floor. And we sat on the floor and talked. And yeah, like I told him all the ways life was unfair and how nothing was working out for me and that I didn't know what to do. And I'm like in tears, right? I'm in tears. And he's listening, you know, like we always do. And we take turns having our meetings. So when I'm done speaking, he looks at me in like a very uncomfortable silence. And he takes a breath and he stands up. And I'm like, okay, what's he doing? Because we don't do that, you know? We don't stand up. And he says, like, okay, what are you gonna do about it? And I'm like, excuse me? I am doing something about it. I'm talking to you about it right now. I need help. Help me. And he was just like, and I want to read this verbatim because it's so ingrained in my mind what he said. He says, and still I'm sitting on the floor crying. He's standing up. And he says, Saharai, you are becoming everything you dislike. You are losing sight of who you are. You don't share your medicine. You always say that we need to act like ancestors now, and you're not. No one knows who you are anymore. You always say, gifts are not gifts if you don't share them. You say they become secrets, and therefore we become the problem again. We need a leader, and you made a commitment to lead Halo, and you need to do that to feel better. So you have to reconnect to yourself and surround yourself with people who are going to support this. That's all I wrote, but this was like a 15-minute TED talk that he gave me. And the whole time I'm crying on the floor. And it was like this vision, again, going back to the visuals of him standing over me and like my highest self speaking through him to me. Because I knew that every fiber of my body knew that that was true. That was painful truth coded in love. And so right after he's done, I'm like catching my breath, and he takes out his phone and he pulls up his calendar and he says, okay, so what are you going to do to heal? What's the first thing you're going to do? And then right away I said fire ceremony, because that had been my thing. And he said, okay, full moon. And I said, yes. And he goes, okay, well the full moon's in 2 days. I was like, no, next month. And he's like, no, in 2 days, you're doing it. And I said, okay. So that was August, and that started what I needed, my domino effect to start showing up again. And added to the repertoire, and fast forward to November's full moon circle when Pastor Trent comes to my ceremony, and afterwards invites me to speak today. And so because in so many ways, I had been doing eulogy for so many people. I had spoken at my mom's funeral, I had spoken at my grandma's funeral, but I hadn't been asked after my mom's funeral to speak by a pastor. But because the fire ceremony was an extension of that, like he was doing that for me in that moment. So that's why for me today, my journey to this podium started in 2018. So preparing for today threw me into a rabbit hole of memories and things, of realizations. And one of them was like how much death has surrounded me. And I was thinking of how many funerals I've spoken or like the things I've been asked to do at funerals or for funerals. In fact, yesterday I spent most of my day creating an altar and attending a celebration of life. And last night when I was typing out the speech so that I wouldn't forget, one of my friends texted me and her father passed away this week. And she said, hey, you came to my dream and you gave me these series of numbers. And she texted them to me and she said, it turns out that she figured out what they were related to. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like even in my dreams, like, oh, like I'm still doing, these messages. So then I started thinking of like, as above, so below, and like understanding the reasons why. And I started thinking of like our halo today and like how does that reflect back to everybody. And I thought of like when, everyone has their own like version of pizza talk, of talk therapy with each other. When we sit down with people, it's because they're experiencing a form of loss. And therefore I realized whenever you're listening and you're giving advice, you're channeling spirit, you're creating a healing for someone. And therefore, in many ways, it's a eulogy form of God, Creator, and universe. So today, I share all of that to gift you my personal eulogy of 2024 in the form of the things I have learned, specifically the 4 things I've learned through the portal of life and death we call grief, and to allow the totality of the way I show up for myself moving forward and others to be redefined. I do want to move forward with the light of life in front of me because death has already been a prominent teacher. So, here are my 4. Lesson 1, H, healing. Time does not heal wounds. Intention and active participation does. I've integrated that healing is an intentional, active act. Healing is an act of service to self. Me waiting around to let all these moon ceremonies hold space for me. Asking the energy to pull into a bank and bring me into this moment, that wasn't going to work. I needed to be fully present in my reality and take charge of my healing. I needed to decide that my love was going to be stronger than my grief because healing is a verb, not a reservation, nor a destination. Lesson 2, A, alchemy. The strength of our alchemy is measured and strengthened through our vulnerability, and vulnerability is going to take different life forms depending on your purpose. But one of the hardest things I had to overcome this year was to learn to show up when I was still hurting. And that doesn't mean I had to learn to show up at my expense. It means that I needed to learn the balance of showing up when I was bruised but not bleeding out anymore. In truth, I was afraid of people seeing my bruises and asking me what happened. Alchemy, in its simplest definition, is the ability to intentionally transform. Alchemy is energy that helps us transcend into lighter spaces. And that said, some alchemy requires to be witnessed, so it can be used. Some alchemy requires human to hold pain and stride, not because you're strong physically, but because your essence, your soul, and your spirit was strong enough to see itself in full light. Lesson 3, L, love. If it's love, allow it to come to you in the form of presence, in the form of engagement, in the form of confrontation. Love in its purest form will hold the container that you require because it sees who you are and not where you're at. My pizza night with Virgil was a game changer for me. It was a confrontation coded in unconditional love. What he did was hold a boundary of truth to me. He reminded me of who I was, and in 15 short, savage minutes, he spoke from highest vibration And it was that frequency that I required to mute the frequencies of fear that I was carrying within. So surround yourself with people who will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. May the people you trust also know that they have permission to speak for your highest and greatest good, even if it temporarily breaks your heart. Lesson 4. Oh, oneness. Our ancestors healed in community. They healed in spaces like this, in spaces of oneness. Our ancestors knew the value of making eye contact with each other. They understood the intimacy of witnessing each other speak. They knew the art of listening. They knew that someone expressing themselves was a benefit to everyone. We have forgotten the art of sharing, of holding reverent space and community. We have forgotten that in order to raise human consciousness on a global scale, we must first raise it within our own neighborhoods. So when I think of oneness, I don't think of the ways that makes us all the same. I think of all the ways our differences brings us together. It's like I shared at the beginning, we all came here in different paths, in different ways, in a very unique imprint that is in your halo. And that is the power of oneness, of engaging in the higher contracts on a Sunday morning in the middle of December. So thank you today for being my witnesses and receiving my eulogy on this final full moon day of 2024. May we take today's light and use it to plant and sprout the seeds of tomorrow. And I didn't know Virgil was going to bring roses. I wanted some, but I'm so glad he did. So I invite you to take a rose with you after the ceremony and allow it to be a reminder of the seed that you want to grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to make some announcements. We have, next week, we have our Christmas potluck after church. So if you'd like to bring a dish to share, we're going to enjoy our potluck over there. And then right after that will be White Eagle's Healing Circle. And then starting January 15th will be our healing class. And it's about healing tools, all the different tools that we use to heal, like crystals and essential oils and sound and all of that. And that'll start on the January 15th. There's more information on the website for that. And now it's time for our love offering or donation. If it's monetary, you can hold it between your hands. If you need to do it electronically through Venmo, you can. The instructions are in your program, and the QR code for Venmo is in there. You can also do it through PayPal. And if it's just energetic, if you want to send the church just love and healing and support, you can hold that in your mind's eye as we repeat the affirmation printed in your program 3 times together. Divine love in me blesses this offering and increases my consciousness of peace and prosperity in all my affairs. Divine love in me blesses this offering and increases my consciousness of peace and prosperity in all my affairs. Divine love in me blesses this offering and increases my consciousness of peace and prosperity in all my affairs. Our usher, Cam and Ray will be coming around.